Power to the truth. This is Margo. This is Sunday, January 20th, 2019, and it's 4:03 p.m. Pacific Time, United States of America. And we're going to look at some more data on methane today, in addition to a couple of articles, and then do the earthquake report. So what I have pulled up on the right is the PDF picture from Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Services for methane from Friday, which is the last day we had data for. They have not updated any methane data for since then, since yesterday, and it was for Friday the 18th. And I've chosen 500 HPA, or that's about 18,000 feet. And so we saw this yesterday in our report, and we saw these dark high levels of methane over the Arctic and over parts of Canada. And even though we didn't have new data in CAMS, I wanted to show you NOAA does track methane as well, and I've shown you the sounding products with NOAA and how to find the methane readings on their site. It's a little bit more complicated to get to, but it can be done. And so the graph that I have pulled up here is from yesterday, January 19th, for Saturday, and it was from the METOP2 satellite, and at PM it was the afternoon view from that satellite. And what we have is 506 millibars, or that's as close as we can get to 500 HPA in this system. The range, the methane range, is between 1512 to 2804 parts per billion, and the mean, or the average, is 1837. So, or that's in between, right in between the two. So what we can see is, here's their chart down here, with the lowest reading being in this orange range down here in the Antarctic. That was 1512 parts per billion, and the highest is 2804, which is this fuchsia color, and we can see a lot of it over the Arctic in the same regions where we were seeing this dark methane at 500 HPA over here at CAMS. Now CAMS is good because of the visuals, and you can do the forecasts and stuff, but we are unable to see the exact levels, the exact readings of what the methane is over there, especially when it gets up above 2140 parts per billion. It just goes into this dark area that can go all the way up to 10,000. So it's good to do a comparison, even though these are a day apart. I like showing this higher reading because we can, when we do get this data in from CAMS, and we will eventually get the data in from Saturday, we can go back and look and see, and I mean, it's not going to be probably that much different than what we're seeing from Friday over here, but you can see the correlation, and so we can get an idea of how high these methane readings really are up there. And they're very high. To 2800, that's getting on up. That's getting close to 3000 parts per billion in the upper atmosphere. at 500 HPA. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. And then they have lower scales also with the darker red and so forth that we can see correlated over over on our map on CAMS as well. So I just found that interesting, so I'm going to leave that there, and then I'm going to open this up and have that as a backdrop for the rest of what I'm going to be sharing. And I'm going to start with, let's just start with comments. And here are ones that have come in since yesterday, since our last video, last recording. And from Environmental Coffee House, Sandy says, "Hey Margo," and I say, "Hey Sandy." And then Marcia Noren comments and says, "Wow, like watching red dragons swirling, methane rising from the ocean floor. It's one thing to read about it and another thing to see it. That movie you ran is just amazing. Thank you, Margo. The U.S. is looking much worse than I've seen before. Thanks for including that." I agree, Marcia. It does look like red dragons swirling, and it's going to get worse. But thanks for being here, and thanks for your comment. And then Peter Waitman left a link to about a 30-minute show that Guy McPherson did with, I can't remember the name of the gentleman, in Tucson, and they talked about saving the grizzlies. So if you want to watch that, you can click on that link. Thank you, Peter, for being here and tuning in and sharing that with us. And Sensible Hair says, "Thanks, Margo." You're welcome, Sensible Hair. Thank you for your comment and for being here. Then we had a comment from, I don't remember a comment from this person before. I think it's their first one. It's from Nancy Goebel. Nancy says, "I recently came by your site here and want to thank you for your efforts on putting together a picture of clarity. I mostly just view the info sites and never comment, but a deserving word of appreciation is in order." Well, thank you, Nancy, right off the bat. I appreciate it, and thank you for tuning in and going to the trouble of leaving this comment that I'm about to share. And Nancy goes on, "Initially, a few years ago, I did my own research and came to understand the science of abrupt climate change. It became flat evident that the feedback loops were well in play, and no one in a position of leadership was going to save humanity. Truly, we are in deep shit. I feel a crisis is not far away, be it social, political, environmental, or all of the above. Something that has helped me with perspective is learning more about quantum physics. It has a way of giving one another paradigm in which to view life. A good introduction, if interested, is a video on YouTube, Quantum Fields, The Real Building Blocks of the Universe with David Tong. I think for those who have trouble with the concept of God or with spirituality, the awareness of the subatomic world helps one more easily grasp the concept that everything is energy and everything is connected, hence be at peace. You caught my attention when mentioning the Nevada nuclear site, as I used to work there at Tonopah in the early 1980s as a young airman operating a simulated Russian tracking radar playing war games called Red Flag. We used to see Russian MiGs and F-4s dogfighting above us once in a while. Of course, this info is declassified now. Had some good times mooning each other as we went flying past another loaded vehicle on those long desert roads driving back to the compound. These days I work in a geriatric unit and a locked psych unit as an RN. Some days are rough, but for the most part they teach me a lot about the ability to love. Well, Nancy, you shared a lot of info with us, and you've seen a lot, you've experienced a lot, you've done your own research, and it sounds like you've come to terms with abrupt climate change and the fact that everything is coming down fast, and found your own way to deal with it. And so I appreciate your comment. I appreciate you being here, and thank you for tuning in, and welcome, and I hope you get a lot out of the videos as I'm presenting them as we're moving forward into the breakdown of all of the above. And then Gary Zod says, "You are right, Margo. The end times are coming." Thank you, Gary Zod. I appreciate your comment. Thank you for being here. Earth Angel says, "This was a great report. Thank you, Margo." You're welcome, Earth Angel, and thank you for dropping by, and thank you for being here. Appreciate you very much. Then Tom Bell says, "For sure, we're in the end times. The web of life is in fast collapse. The evidence is clear for those who are in step with nature. Dear Margo, thank you again for your clear and concise reports. I like your good self. Am a Christian, and Jesus said many will perish for lack of knowledge and wisdom, my words. And with a deep understanding of the Bible, and especially the last chapter of the Bible, entitled Revelation, I try and make it clear to my Christian brothers and sisters that before Jesus comes back, a fake Jesus called the Antichrist will appear and will be worshipped as the Savior we've been waiting for. This Antichrist will be seated in the third temple that is soon to be built in Jerusalem. This is not the Jesus we've been waiting for. The true Jesus will appear after this false Jesus Christ, called the Antichrist in the Bible. It is all written in the Bible. God bless everyone." Thank you for being here, Tom Bell, and thank you for your comment. And I agree, and I think that we are watching the signs, and the signs are coming in fast now, and it's not just signs in the climate, but in the political arena and in the events that are happening. And I agree, I'm very familiar with Revelation and about the appearance of the Antichrist, and it does say that a lot of people are going to be fooled with this person presenting themselves as Jesus. But this is why we need to have discernment, and we need to be rooted in our own belief and our own faith before that time comes, so that we can go within and get our own answers, and also, be guided by God and Jesus internally and spiritually, and make sure we've got that tractor beam to them and in the angelic realm, because otherwise it's gonna be like lost at sea without it. That's my opinion. So thank you, Tom Bell. I appreciate you more than you know, and God bless you too. And then Daryl Cobble just left this comment. He says, "Hey Margo, this is along Hawke's Bay coast." And this is an article from the New Zealand Herald. And I'm gonna... Okay, I know some sound is gonna come up here in a second. Anyway, it says, one summer left on Hamoana's beachfront, the climate change hourglass trickles. And this is a video showing the... turn that off. Showing the waves, the ocean, the tide coming in further and further and further, right up to this beachfront property, which is like these... I didn't mean to do that. Let's reload that. Says Teowanga hit by large swell. And so this whole article is about people who live on this beach, and who, some of them, their houses have started falling apart because the water is coming up and washing away the foundation. And you know, these people aren't going to be able to live here much longer, but they're still there. And this is as a result of sea level rise. So it's a really good article, and it's got, like, look at this picture, look at this house that's just totally demolished inside. You couldn't live there. And you know, they went around and interviewed people who are still living there, and like their bathroom tile is coming apart and things. And instead of moving, they're building another seawall. So that's what they're doing. But look at the foundation that's broken up there. So this gives a real good picture of, literally, of what's to come. And you know, these people, they want to stay there, so you know, they're at risk for tsunamis and all kinds of things, but you know, we're all gonna die, so I don't guess it matters. If that's how they want to go, that's how they can go, like that. So thank you for your comments, everyone, and thank you, Darren, for leaving that article. That was a good picture of what's going on down there and what's going to be going on worldwide. So now let's get right into our earthquake report. And if people are not aware of it, we've had the biggest earthquakes in the last 24 hours have happened down in Chile. And I'll go ahead and show that right now on the earthquake map on USGS, right down here in this area. They've had 5 that had been registered by USGS. The first one was a 6.7 near Coquimbo, Chile, that happened yesterday at 5:32 p.m. I just finished recording my video from yesterday and was getting it uploaded when that came in. And it was 53 kilometers deep. And it was on land. Actually, it was right on the coast. Sorry, it wasn't on land. It was right next to the coast there. But they've had these aftershocks. That one was on land, like right on that road there. And Coquimbo, it was the closest town. La Serena was another town nearby. And the aftershocks have been of 4.3, 4.4, 4.0, and 4.5. and the 4.5 happened today at 1:23 p.m. Pacific time. The deepest one was a 61 kilometer, and so they were between 61, and then the last one that came in was 18 kilometers deep. And here's an article about this earthquake, and it's from Reuters, and this was published yesterday, written by Manuel Farias. A 6-point magnitude earthquake hit the coast of north-central Chile on Saturday evening. It killed 2 people. They died from having heart attacks. Authorities are reporting as many as 200,000 without power and 2 people dead of heart attacks. So here's some pictures of people outside their homes. The quake struck at 10:32 p.m. their time, about 16 kilometers or 10 miles southwest of Coquimbo. The quake measured 53 kilometers or 33 miles below the surface, shook homes, caused landslides in the region's mountainous terrain, and initially prompted authorities to begin a mass evacuation of coastal areas ahead of a potential tsunami. But the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, however, quickly ruled out that threat. An elderly man and woman died of cardiac arrest thought to be associated with the earthquake. The quake also knocked out a major power station, but electricity was restored to most of the region overnight. A witness reported minor damage to older buildings in the coastal city of La Serena, a popular Pacific Coast beach town about 400 kilometers or 250 miles north of Santiago. It felt very strong. The tourists were very nervous, but nothing serious happened, said Camila Castillo, a receptionist at a hotel in La Serena. Chilean miner Antofagasta said operations were normal at its Los Pelombres copper mine. And so they had an 8.2 magnitude quake in 2010 and triggered a tsunami that devastated coastal towns. It says that they have now adopted stricter construction codes. So there's that article that I will leave a link to below. But so that's the biggest one that we've seen in the last 24 hours. And remember that we've got the eclipse happening tonight. It's going to be at its peak at 12:16 a.m. Eastern Time and 9:16 p.m. Pacific Time in the U.S. And it starts like an hour and a half before that. It's raining here in the Reno area, so I won't be able to see it, but it's a big deal. So people can look for information on the times and everything. If you're interested in viewing the eclipse. So on the USGS, we have all magnitudes pulled up for the last 24 hours, and it's showing 181 earthquakes worldwide. And so it is the weekend, and it is a holiday weekend with Martin Luther King Day being observed on Monday. So a lot of the earthquake makers and shakers are not at work, and so we can see the number of earthquakes have gone down in the last 24-hour period. Some of them will be back at work tomorrow. They'll probably be back in full force by Tuesday. So I expect to see more coming in the next 24 hours. So let's start. I already showed you those in Chile. While we're over here on the east side of the Pacific, there was this one that happened near Colombia. This is Colombia right here, off the coast of Colombia and off the east coast of Nicaragua. It was a 4.5 that happened at 6:05 this morning, 10 kilometers deep. So that was not big enough to cause any damage. It's showing movement though. So let's go around this ring of fire now. Down here in Tonga, we had a 4.7 that happened at 3:08 p.m. today, 127 kilometers deep. We can see that's right next to that red line. Down okay, further around here, over here, south of the Philippines, there's a 4.9 that happened at 11:48 p.m. last night, 49 kilometers deep. It was in the ocean, so that didn't cause any damage. Here's one right on this red line, 4.7 near Rumung, Micronesia at 9:43 this morning, 42 kilometers deep. Here's a 4.6 near Rota, North Mariana Islands, that happened at 1:30 this morning, 110 kilometers deep. Now let's go over to China. They've had some activity. Here was a 4.6 near Zamog, China, that happened last night at 6:52 p.m., 38 kilometers deep. And then there were two right here. There was a 5.2 at 6:28 this morning, 9 kilometers deep, and a 4.7 at 6:39. So 11 minutes later, 10 kilometers deep. And this was, it's showing as 107 kilometers west-southwest of Jeju-Debu, China. And it's on that Tibetan plateau, it looks like. So China's had 3 in the last, that's registering. Of course, USGS, as we know, does not register the smaller earthquakes internationally for whatever reason. Then over here, near Greece, near Lardos, Greece, there was a 4.9 that happened at 7:49 this morning, 10 kilometers deep. Now let's go to our all magnitudes. Let's go to Hawaii. They have 10 earthquakes showing here on the mainland. Here's a 2.5 that came in at 3:07 p.m. 2.2, 2.1, 2.0, 2.4, and the others were in the ones range. Now let's go over to Dominican Republic. The activity over here, we have 10 over here. I'll just call them out if they're like 2.5 or higher. Here was a 3.1, and you can see them light up in blue as I call them out. 3.0, 3.0, 2.8, 3.2, 3.2, 2.7, 3.2, and here's 2.0. So we had more in the 3 range this time, so those are getting a little bit higher in magnitude. Not big enough to do damage, but showing movement still. Now let's go up to Alaska, and let's go to 2.5 magnitude and higher to start with. Up here we've got 3.1 near Anchor Point, Alaska, that happened at 9:46 this morning, 98 kilometers deep, and a 2.7 near Redoubt Volcano that happened at 3:23 this afternoon, 96 kilometers deep. So now let's look at Alaska with all magnitudes. And you know, this could be the kind of calm before the storm, I'm thinking. So, okay, we're showing 76 earthquakes on the viewing area here. Nothing being reported up in the top, the northern end of Alaska. It's kind of from the midpoint down in this line, from the midline coming down, and we can see they're peppered down from Fairbanks on down. And a lot still swarming in the Anchorage area. There's 37 that we're seeing here. They're fairly small. They're in the 1s and 2s range. So there's that we want to keep an eye on. Then there's a few over here on this red line. There was a 2.2 near Cape Yakataga, and a 2.2 near Yakutat. Now this one was 0 kilometers deep, so that was right at the surface. And here's a 1.9 near Haines. Now coming on down into the United States, we had a one in eastern Texas, right there near the Louisiana border. A 2.6 near San Augustine, Texas, that happened at 3:31 this morning. It was 5 kilometers deep. We're not used to seeing activity there, so I don't know what would have caused that, but it happened. And then over here in West Texas, we had a 2.4 near Pecos, Texas, that happened at 7:40 this morning, 5 kilometers deep. Now see, that was just about a straight line from each other, so I'm wondering if one set off the other. They were almost the same magnitude, and so I'm just wondering if somehow one set off the other. I don't know. Now let's go up here to the Seattle area. There was a 1.0 near Tacoma, Washington at 8:47 last night, 19 kilometers deep, and nothing in Yellowstone to report. Utah is clear. Look at Nevada. I've never seen it like this. There's nothing. I don't believe this. There's nothing in Nevada today. I can't believe this. I just wonder if they're not reporting. This is weird. This is eerie to me to see nothing in Nevada, and we're used to maybe it's the eclipse. They're not reporting for the eclipse. I don't know. Maybe it's the calm before the storm. This is kind of flipping me out though. Nothing anywhere in Nevada. Well, I'm going to have to watch Dutch Sense and see what he has to say about that. Also, the European earthquake reporting website is still offline, EMSC, for whatever reason. Then, I think California made up for Nevada not having anything. Here's one right here on that San Andreas fault line. A 2.9 near Petrolia, California, that happened at 4:17 this afternoon, 18 kilometers deep. And we've been seeing activity right in this region in the last couple of weeks, so we want to keep an eye on that. And here's more activity here near the Sacramento area. Now here's the geysers. Let's get these others out of the way and then we'll do the geysers. Here's a 1.9 near Williams and a 2.1 near Onguin. And then there were 6 at the geysers. They were small. Now coming on down, here's the San Andreas fault line. Here's a 2.2 near Pinnacles. See, there are not many in California today either. Here's a 1.3 near Pinyon Hills on the red line. Let's go back up to the Mammoth area. 5, wait, let's get that one off the map. 4 in the Mammoth area. 1.1, 1.4, 0.8, and 1.3. So this is definitely not many compared to what we've been seeing. 1.0 near Little Lake. I would expect it to be more with the eclipse, but maybe it's like I said, it's the calm before the storm. Here's a 0.9 near Bodfish, and we saw that one at Pinyon Hills. We didn't see anything at Long Valley. Well, just the, okay, Mammoth Lakes and the Long Valley, Caldera's down there. I meant we didn't see anything at Mono Lake today. So we only saw 4 in the Long Valley area. This is very freaky. I don't know what to think. I really don't know what to think. With it being so void of earthquakes here. Okay, now I've got Southern California in view here. And we're showing 51 on the map. They're small, and let's see how many are down here at Calipatria. We have 15 down here. I remember we saw that there's a geothermal pumping operation down here that Dutch Sense thinks that that's what's causing those. Here's a couple down here. Here's some more just peppered around. Nothing near the border. Here's the Kauai area, and we're seeing 20 here. So the majority of them are here. And there's the 2.1 at Aguanga. So I think that's it. I think that's it, folks. Maybe they're waiting for me to finish my report and then something will happen. Here's one that came in. It was a 1.0 near Packwood, Washington. That happened at 11:09 this morning. Did I miss that? Or maybe anyway, I think that's it. I'll zoom out and see if anything else came in while I was recording this video for you today. Oh, I missed this one. Down here, off the coast of Madagascar, was a 4.8. This happened at 1:54 this morning. It was 10 kilometers deep. There's been activity over in this same area in the last couple of weeks as well, since I've been kind of really reporting on all this stuff. Let's see. We got that 2.9 near Petrolia. We got that. 2.7 near Redoubt Volcano. We got this one down in Tonga. And we got those. We got all those. So I think that's a wrap. So, my name is Margo. I do believe we're in the end times. I do believe that time is short, and I recommend that everyone get their spiritual houses in order and finish up your relationships and get rid of anger and holding grudges, and get your relationships finished up more than anything, so that there's nothing left to hold on to you to keep you from going when it comes time, so that the load will be lighter when it comes time for you to leave. So until next time, God bless everyone, and I'll talk to you real soon. Go in peace. Goodbye.